We all know that there are certain things that happen when the end of the month is closing in before we can roll into the next month. We know we need to update the budget, fill in our essentials list, select new tasks from our annual task list, review our schedules, and so on. But there is one thing that we often forget about in the busyness of life, and that is stopping to take time and look at all the good that happened over the last 4 weeks. So today I'm sharing 3 journal prompts to help you recap your month in a way that is simple yet impactful.
Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast.
We all know that there is a lot going on every month, and if we're not careful, we move through it at a very fast pace, and pretty soon, we're 6 months into the year. I can't believe we're already going into July of 2026. That seems crazy to me. But if we are just living life one day at a time and just continuing through without kind of pausing to look back a little bit, it is just going to continuously pass us by, and we're not going to be able to really appreciate all of those moments like we can when we sit down to journal. It is something that I think is very impactful. And it helps me to kind of stop and appreciate what has been happening so that when I look ahead, I can kind of understand what I want more of in my life as well. So I think it is really important because if we're not taking time to do this, we're going to also forget about all the little moments that are happening too. So I hope that you enjoy this as much as I do because it is something that just makes my day a whole lot better before I go into a brand new month. So we're going to go through those 3 journal prompts to close out each month with gratitude. Now, when you are talking about doing this, you can definitely just kind of think through, although I think it is very helpful to actually put pen to paper and write these things down. If you're really struggling and you have nowhere to write, you could throw them in a note on your phone, but there's something about actually writing these out on paper that just it makes things feel a little bit slower and calmer and helps you to really appreciate these things as you are writing them out. There's something weird about it. Just try it and see how you feel. So you can use just a notebook that you want to dedicate to this. You can use a journal. I actually like using the praise report page in my dream planner. So I actually have a planner that I get that I love. I have talked about it so many times on this podcast, but it's HoratioPrinting.com. And I get the vertical lay flat leather dream planner. And they have a page at the end of each month that is called Praise Report. And it's just a blank spread. And this is where I like to do those because then I have a dedicated page at the end of each month to write these things in. And I absolutely love it. If you want to get one, because we're in the middle of the year, they have them on sale. And then if you use my code Renae15, you get another 15% off as well. So you can check them out if you want to. I do have a link in my episode description of this episode that you can take a look, but I love those planners. They're very high quality. They're just really good. So once you have your things to write with, here are your 3 journal prompts. The first one is what good moments happened this month? And that's all you're going to do. You're just going to brain dump them. What are all the good things that happened? These are the special moments that you enjoyed. It can be something super simple. It can be an entire evening or an entire day. It can be anything that you think is a special moment. It could be a date night, a sunset walk, brunch with a friend, fishing with your family. Maybe you even saw a bird that you haven't seen since childhood. It can be any of those things. So you just want to think back to everything that happened this month. If you need to, pull up your calendar and look back at your calendar because sometimes life just gets so busy. So look back at the last 4 weeks of this month and figure out kind of refresh your memory, I should say. Refresh your memory on what you were doing day to day, and then just write down all of the good moments that you can think of. And once you do that, you're going to go to prompt 2, which is what happened this month that I don't want to forget. So these might not necessarily be something that was like a special good moment for you, but these are things that you want to kind of track. So it could be like a health milestone. Maybe you celebrated something. Maybe you achieved something that you've been working towards. Maybe you ended up booking a vacation for in the future, or you paid off a debt. So you might not have captured those in the good moments. Maybe you did, and maybe this is just a duplicate of those. But a lot of times, if you ask it in a different way like this, you end up remembering a couple of other things that happened throughout the month that you didn't think about when you were capturing the good moments. So I like doing both of those. And then the third prompt is what goals did I reach this month? So if you've had any goals, maybe you are trying to be really consistent on a routine or a habit that you have put in place. Maybe you had a gym goal of how many times you went to the gym this month. Maybe you had a goal to drink a gallon of water or make dinner at home 5 nights of the week. Anything that you have been working towards for a goal, this is the time to brain dump how you did. And I do want to note here that it is easy to look at this in a negative light if you have not been super great at all of your goals, but it is important to phrase it in a positive light because if we are closing out our month in a negative way, it it just starts the new month in a negative way. So we want to close it in a positive way. So if your goal was to walk during your morning routine for at least 15 morning walks throughout the month, let's say you got 9 of them. So instead of saying, I didn't hit my goal, look at what you did do and you got nine morning walks in. So put that down. Like I had a goal of 15, I was able to get 9 and I felt amazing. That is the way that you want to kind of look at it. And then when you have your next goal, you can roll into the next month and it's like, okay, I made 9. So now my goal is to beat my goal last month. And now you have a goal of, yes, it is 15 and you want to get 15, but you want to make sure that you are better than you were the month before. So think about phrasing things in a positive way rather than focusing on the negative. It'll just make you feel much better. And the other thing, like this isn't a prompt, but while you're doing this, I just want you to kind of take note that when you are recapping these things, look at what is really important to you. If it is a special moment, if it's something that you really want to remember, ask yourself if you are prioritizing those things in your life. Is that something that you want to keep on a regular basis or to keep a focus on to make it a personal priority? And if it is, make sure you are taking the time to schedule those things into your calendar because otherwise life will pass us by very quickly. And we have to prioritize where our time is going because if we're not plugging things in on where we want to spend our time, it will just be taken up by everything that's happening around us. So we really need to kind of create the life that we want by curating what is actually on our calendars. So, this is a really great time to do that too, because we're looking back at all the things that are very special to us and important to us. So, just kind of keep that in mind as you're going through this practice. And if this is something that you really want to do, but you don't have, a paper planner that you work with, or you just feel like you're going to forget, where it's like, oh, this is a good idea, but I know I'm never going to remember to do this at the end of each month. Take these 3 questions and plug them into an event on your calendar. And just give yourself however much time you need. Do you need 30 minutes to do this? Do you need 5 minutes to do this? Just plug some time in on your calendar. Put these questions in the description and schedule it as a recurring event on the last day of each month. You can do that where it's the last day of each month, or you can, maybe do it on the 25th of each month, however you want to do it, whatever works best. But then you know that you don't have to remember to do this every time. It's just going to pop up on your calendar. And when you are planning out your week and you're going through your weekly review, you can move it to a different day or a different time if you need to, but you know it's on your calendar so that you don't have to remember. It's just automatically going to pop up to remind you to recap your month like this. So that could be really helpful if you need a reminder like that to actually sit down and go through all of these moments. So I will recap those 3 questions for you again before we close out. It is number 1, what good moments happened this month? Number 2, what happened this month that I don't want to forget? And number 3, what goals did I reach this month? So I hope that this inspires you to just pause and make sure you sit down and do this for this month and just see how you feel. If you hate it, you don't have to do it anymore. But if you love it, start making this a practice at the end of each month, and you will be able to look back at the end of the year and be able to see all of the good moments that happened throughout the year. And you only have to sit down and do it 12 times. So it's just something to keep an eye on, and I hope that you really enjoy it.
Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.